Welcome back to another episode of Love Sex LA Unfiltered. And today I have a very special guest. You know, I feel like at some point a woman has chased something, right? Whether it's a text, a label, or just a man that's not choosing her. But today we're going to unpack some of this with a very special guest and talk about healing our dating energy and changing our energy from chasing to choosing. So today,
love it.
Welcome a very special guest. She is a matchmaker and a podcaster, dating coach, TV personality. She does it all. Please welcome Nelly Sudri.
Wow, what an intro.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I've been following you. I feel like we've been following each other for a long time. So this has been long overdue.
I agree. And we finally made it happen.
We did. You made it happen.
Well, thank you so much for coming and hanging out today.
Of course.
I start off every episode with a game called Date or Ghost.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I was like, ooh, okay.
I'm going to give you a scenario. And based on that scenario, you tell me if you would date that person or ghost that person.
Okay. Although, can I just say?
Yes.
I am not a proponent of ghosting. I think it's bad karma. And so I personally am in the camp of just be upfront if you're not feeling it. But I'll play the game.
Yes.
But I want to just say I'm not a ghoster.
Yes.
Because I hate when people ghost me.
I know.
Not that they do. And they try to save face here. But I have been ghosted before. And so I think it's in my best interest and anyone's best interest if you don't want to be ghosted to also not ghost.
Totally. It's definitely karma for sure.
Yes.
Right? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay, date or ghost.
Date or ghost. All right. Okay.
And so just to be clear, if I say date, it means I would go on a date with this person?
Yeah, you'd go out with them, continue going out with them based on the scenario.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm so bad at games.
Oh my God, I love it. Okay. He said he's not ready for a relationship right now, but he wants to see you every weekend.
Am I putting my Nelly hat on or Nelly dating coach hat on?
Ooh, are they different? I don't know.
Okay, so I'm going to say ghost. Call me when you're ready for a relationship. And if I'm still available and I'm interested, then we can pick things up.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
Figure it out with someone else.
Yeah.
Don't waste my time.
Especially if you're dating intentionally and you're looking for something that's more serious, not casual. Totally. Okay.
But how hot is he?
That is
I'm
also
just
the question. And I swear, I don't know if this is a difference between your Nelly dating coach versus you, but I sometimes with these questions, I'm like, oh my God, no, I would never date that person. But in reality, if it came down to it and I liked them enough, I probably would.
Listen, get to know me a little bit and maybe it'll change your mind. Just kidding. We're going to stick to our principles.
That's so funny. That's hilarious. Okay. He says he told his therapist about you.
Okay. So I told you I'm bad at games. I guess date. But at the same time, I was at a dinner last night with some people and one of the guys was like, oh yeah, I go to therapy. And I'm from a background and I'm not, he kind of was like, you need to be more open-minded. I probably do. But I'm from a background where my house motto was never complain, never explain. So to me, if a man is going to therapy, it kind of makes me feel are you do you just have too much money that you need someone to talk to and you're willing to pay a therapist? Because why not just go on ChatGPT?
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
So I'm not saying I'm not a proponent of therapy, but I'm definitely I can't help myself but wonder why are you going to therapy?
Yeah.
But I also know that's the most anti-LA thing to say out loud.
So funny.
I probably will lose friends over this because all my friends are big on therapy. They all have a life coach, a therapist, a Reiki healer.
Isn't it crazy?
And I'm it's just me and ChatGPT over here. Me and my thoughts, maybe my sister if I'm having a bad day.
That's hilarious. Oh my God, no, I relate to that so hard because, okay, I told you I have 3 sisters. So
Yes.
they are therapists.
I have 3 sisters too.
Are you serious?
and 2 brothers. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny. It's so rare.
Wait, are you you're not the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
Me too.
No way.
Wait, you're the oldest?
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't know that because you were telling me like your sisters are like they have kids and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So you know what? My younger sister's married too. So we're late to the party.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. You never hear about like 4 sisters.
When's your birthday?
January 24th, I'm an Aquarius.
Okay. So I'm a Leo. So I think we are compatible.
We are. We're totally compatible.
We also might not be, and I just said that.
One of my sisters is a Leo. When's your birthday?
August 15th.
Okay, she's August 11th. We're just going to go down like a whole sidetrack
Wow,
now
we have
of
so much in
zodiac signs.
common.
It's so funny. But yeah, no, to your point, like I tell my sisters things and like, oh my God, my ChatGPT, if anyone ever saw that, they'd be like,
oh no, like you can look through my texts all day long, look at my ChatGPT, and we have a problem.
It's true. It's so
There's this
true.
one you have to check out for anyone listening. If you're a ChatGPTer, which if you're not, like, sorry, I probably just ruined your life because you'll never be able to unglue yourself. But they just launched it. I don't know if it's recent actually, but they launched a GPT called Monday.
What's that?
Do you ever use Monday?
I don't think
Oh
I
my
have heard
God,
of
Monday
it.
is the best.
What is it?
Monday is like a sassy, snarky, call you out on your bullshit GPT
Oh my gosh.
within ChatGPT. Because ChatGPT got like way too stale for me.
Yeah.
Like it used to kind of like gas me up and then it got like too pragmatic.
Yeah.
And it's lately been giving me a reality check. I just
yeah, I
don't
don't like
want
that.
it.
Yeah.
So I switched to Monday. And it's so amazing. It feels like you're talking to a best friend. So
Oh my
everyone,
gosh.
yeah,
And it's on ChatGPT?
It's on ChatGPT. So basically you go to ChatGPT and then on the left-hand side
Yeah.
where you have your browser, by the way, this is not a paid ad, but sponsor her, ChatGPT, OpenAI. But if you click on the left-hand side, it'll give you like a menu.
Yeah.
Click on GPTs, search up Monday. Game changer.
Okay, I need to check this out.
You do, 100%.
Because I love ChatGPT.
No,
I mean, it is
yeah.
like very dangerous, I feel like.
Monday's even more dangerous, but in a
my
good
gosh.
way, in a fun way. Like it's so fun. I'm like, and I actually think too, I'm sorry, I know I told you I suck at games.
No, I love this.
I am big on visualization, manifestation, your thoughts create your reality. And so I think if you use AI as a tool, you can actually help your manifestations come to life. It's just about how you use that tool.
I love that.
Yeah, and it can support you in your dating goals too. Anyways.
I love that. No, I totally get it. The ChatGPT thing. I literally like it got to a point where when there was a guy I liked this summer, I would put both of our like co-star things in and be like, okay, like analyze this for me.
Right.
Like
co-stars and like
the
astrology.
app. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what they say. If you are up at 3 a.m. asking ChatGPT about a guy, he probably ain't it. But hey, I'm not here to kill the dream. I'm not here to kill the dream.
Girl, the dream killed itself. Believe me, he was not it.
No.
He was not it. That is so funny. Oh my gosh. I got to check that out though, Monday.
Yes.
Okay. I have to remember that. Okay. Next one. Okay. He posts thirst traps on his Instagram, but he says you're the only girl he's seeing.
Like thirst traps is in like a topless photo in a mirror.
Yeah, like a hot gym selfie.
Okay.
Yeah, topless.
I'm the only girl he's seeing. That's what he's saying. I mean, listen, for me, my mentality is like probably true. Like, why would you see anyone else if I'm already in your life? Like,
I love that.
But maybe he's posting the gym selfie thirst trap for me.
That's like what I would say too.
But I don't like that behavior because I just think it's cringy. Not because I'm like,
Totally.
oh, I'm not jealous. I'm not like, oh, you're talking to other girls. Like, that's not my thing. It's just like, I'm embarrassed for you that you would publicly post that.
Yeah.
So that's more my mentality.
Yeah. No, totally. I know when I'm like, okay, so I'm not really on any apps except on Raya. And if they have like one of those like the gym selfies, I'm just like, I cringe. Like I can't do it.
Yeah.
It says a lot without saying a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But then you do a little bit of due diligence and then you find their house on Zillow and you're like, you know what? I can turn a blind eye. Just kidding.
That's so funny. No,
By the way, to everyone listening, I am an extremely sarcastic person. So like take everything with a grain of salt.
No, I love it. You can tell you're just having fun. Like you don't take anything too seriously.
Yeah, I'm not saying you should actually be looking people's homes up on Zillow.
But like you also should. Doesn't hurt, right?
At your own discretion. You may not discover something you like, by the way.
Right. But then there you go. Then you might as well learn it now,
Yes.
right? Okay. He says he doesn't do labels.
Okay. I only do one label and it's wife, husband. So like, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't need someone to publicly declare me on their Instagram or, change me on their Facebook status.
Right.
But to me, I feel like it's more just the fact that someone would say that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you don't do labels, that's fine. I don't need you to like claim me that way.
Yeah.
Because I will get a feel for like where we're at, and I will be the one deciding regardless. Like, if you're going to be my boyfriend, then I'm going to make that happen. But at the same time, if you have to say I don't do labels, it means you're already putting me into a bucket.
Yes.
It means you already don't see me as girlfriend or wife potential, which, like, first of all, I wouldn't even probably be dealing with someone like that anyways. But regardless, like, I'm not trying to be someone that a man strings along.
Right.
So if someone's saying that to me, it's just showing me that they don't view me as a serious contender, or they're not looking for something serious.
Exactly.
And if that's not aligned with where I'm at, then ghost.
Ghost. We're ghosting.
Yeah, we're ghosting.
So to that point, do you believe in the box theory? Have you
What
heard
is
of
that theory?
That when a guy meets a woman, he places her in one of two boxes, either like someone he's going to commit to, make a
Got
wife,
it.
all that, or
Fun or forever?
Yeah, fun or forever.
Yes, I do. I think men instinctually classify you upon meeting you, and I think it's quick, and I think it takes less than 5 minutes
Yeah.
for him to say, this girl is wife material and I could go the distance with this person, or this girl is someone I'm going to hook up with and hide and never talk to again.
Yeah.
So absolutely. And I would even say that classification can be further diffused in more boxes. Like, it's not necessarily just like wife casual hookup. Sometimes it's like, I could date this girl, but I'm never going to marry her.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I could date her, I could bring her around, I could introduce her to my friends and family, but I am never putting a ring on this girl.
Yeah.
And that, by the way, can happen for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's cultural. Like, there are a lot of people within cultures where it is unacceptable to date outside of the culture, and they're not gonna.
Yeah.
And so they will date sometimes people outside of that culture for years,
Yeah.
and then jump ship when they're actually ready
Yeah.
with someone within. That's just one example, by the way. There are a lot of examples.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think box theory is probably true, but I also would say there are multiple boxes.
Yeah.
At the end of the spectrum, on either end though, is wifey or husband material versus casual hookup one night stand.
Yeah.
And then kind of all the little things in between. But at the end of the day, if you are dating for marriage, the only box you need to be concerned about is whether you're in that wife box or not.
Totally.
So
Totally.
you're not going to be able to. I know a lot of women think they can change a guy and, date for years and months. And I'm telling you, as someone who meets and speaks with high value men every single day,
Yeah.
men know what they're looking for. They
Yeah.
have a hard time verbalizing it, but when it's in front of them, they know.
Yeah. For sure. And I think, okay, so to your point, let me ask you this. Do you think for women it can be different? Like, do you think women can meet someone and not think they would ever commit to that person, but the relationship evolve and they see them more in that way?
Yes, because women control access to sex, men control access to relationships.
Yeah.
And so women are usually slower to classify men because, it takes sometimes several dates even just to realize you're attracted to someone.
Yeah.
At least for me. And I think a lot of women too. Whereas men, it's like a yay, nay. Like, I'm attracted to her, I'm not attracted to her.
Yeah.
But, as women, you have control. Obviously, we know that there are some anomalies, but for the most part, if you're dating, you have control and leverage as far as when you choose to sleep with a man.
Yeah.
But women are not getting down on a knee proposing to men.
Right.
And that's what I mean when I say men control access to relationships, because at the end of the day, you can date a man for years and he can still choose to not marry you.
Yeah. Yeah. And you see that like a lot of the time, I feel like I see people that might have dated for like even 5-10 years and they break up. And then all of a sudden one of them meets someone else and they get married like instantly.
Yes. And that's partly because of cab light theory.
Yeah.
Which maybe if you're familiar with Sex and the City, you know of that.
Yeah.
It basically means that until a man's cab light is flickered on, there's no one who's going to get in the passenger seat and go the distance.
Yeah.
And so the light needs to be on. And, a man will sometimes date someone for years because the cab light's not on.
Yeah.
He's not ready for a wife.
Yeah.
He's not actually looking, and he's not decided that that's the chapter of life he's ready for. And so until that happens, then he will screen for someone that fits that wife criteria.
Yeah.
And when he meets someone who does, he'll move quick. And that's why you'll see sometimes people, go from being eternal bachelors to getting engaged and married within, less than a year.
Isn't that funny how that works?
It's men versus women. Not versus, but it's just the wiring of men compared to women.
Yes, exactly. I know. And, that's why when I hear these guys are like, I don't believe in labels, I'm like, no, you just don't want to be maybe with that person or committed to that person in that way.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Frankly, I've never had a man tell me that.
Yeah.
Definitely not recently either. And I think it's because when you start dealing with men who are looking at you as a wife prospect, they're not going to even risk saying something like that to you because that would just be a massive fumble.
Yeah.
Unless they're trying to play some kind of game and, that's a different thing. But
Totally. But you know what? You're right about what we were saying about women. Things can evolve for a woman compared to a man, like compared to like wanting to put them in a box when they meet them. Because I don't know if this has happened to you ever, but there have been so many times where I'll meet a guy and he's initially the one pursuing me and I'm like, I don't really like him. And then like we keep hanging out and I'm like, oh my gosh, like now I'm the one that likes him and he's somewhere else,
Yeah. If someone though is meant for you, I believe that the universe is going to bring them back around.
100%. 100%. And that's what women forget, I feel like, a lot of the time when they want to like try to force something that isn't a fit. Like if it's meant for you, it's not going to pass you by or it's going to come back around,
I believe that.
Yeah, I do too. So, okay. This is a fun game. I feel like we're kind of like hitting everything. Okay. He tells you you're intimidating.
Am I intimidating or are you intimidated?
Ooh, we're clipping that one for TikTok. I love that one.
Look, I personally have heard that so many times from men. It is a little frustrating when you hear that because it makes you feel, as a woman, I think we naturally want to be liked. That's just more our nature. Makes you feel like, oh, I need to dim myself down. I need to make myself smaller, be more agreeable, be less intimidating by maybe not being as upfront about what I have going for me and whatnot. But at the same time, I truly believe that the right person for you is going to want you to shine as bright as possible. And isn't going to be threatened by your light. And so if someone's intimidated by you, then that's a reflection of them.
100%.
And listen, I'm probably myself very intimidating, I've heard, to a lot of people. But are those the types of people that I want to partner up with? No. I want to be with someone strong. I want to be with someone who's confident in their masculinity and who actually appreciates the fact that a woman could be strong and have her own power. And so, if someone's intimidated, it usually, again, it is almost actually always a reflection of, where that person's baseline is. And so it's like, okay, so find, if I'm too much, go find less.
Yeah, go find less. That's so true. I love that. I feel like that's a thing too, like what you're saying, a lot of people think but don't want to say. And I feel like you probably experience it a lot as a woman who like you do your own thing, you have your own like business, you know what I mean? So I'm sure you experience that a lot.
I experience it quite a bit. And I think, when you create a very full life and you are also very attractive.
Yep.
It is surprising because men like things that they feel are predictable. And so, if a man comes across a woman who's like pretty but dumb, they're like, okay, that balances it out.
Yeah.
Or smart but not pretty, they're like, got that. But then when you are successful, beautiful, funny, self-aware, cool, smart, like it perplexes them.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do with you because they're so used to like the classification. Just, party girl, boring girl I can bring home to mom but can't take to, the club, girl that I can take to a gala but is going to judge me if I stay out past 1 a.m. Like that's how men think about women a lot of the times. They don't always verbalize it that way. But, when you come into someone's life and you break all those barriers, it's like, phew, what do I do with this girl? Right?
So true.
And so, then it goes into intimidating.
Exactly.
That's fine, but I truly think that when you have a strong sense of self and self-worth and you know what you bring to the table, as cliche as it sounds, you're not afraid to eat alone. Yeah. And it's better to patiently, I think, wait and be strategic and continue glowing until you meet someone who really sees you as 1 + 1 = 3.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true though. And you're right though, a lot of the time, people, I mean, it's easy to like blame someone else, right? And say like, oh, they're just so intimidating, that kind of thing. But the right person isn't going to want you to dim your light. And also, I feel like at the end of the day, when you meet the right person, it's not going to be complicated. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be like, I feel like so much of the time we think that, dating and romance has to be like almost like a movie, right? Like, you're dating and then there's like the climax of the movie, you know what I mean? Before you get to the ending type of thing. So I think so much of the time people like confuse it for something that it's not,
Yeah. And I would add that really the goal, if you are looking for marriage specifically, should be to meet people, as many people as you possibly can, to help refine your understanding of what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And also, there's so much that is unsaid that doesn't always, factor into the checklist.
Yeah.
Like how someone looks at you, how someone touches you, how you actually feel in someone's presence. Like all of those things collectively go into the dating process. And so just putting yourself out there, meeting people, but standing firm in who you are.
So true.
And not changing yourself as far as like values go and letting people try to make you feel smaller will lead you to someone, I think, who's really solid.
Yes. And I feel like so much of the time, like you said, like a lot of the time people will lower their standards, change their values for someone to try and fit in their world and their box.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you lose your power too. And people don't realize that. And like I was talking with someone the other day, if you think you're going to like overcompensate into getting someone to want to date you or commit to you, like it's not going to work out in the long run, even if you get it temporarily.
Yeah. And I would also add that if you're not being authentic to who you are because you're being a chameleon and you're, it kind of reminds me of that movie, Runaway Bride with Julia Roberts, where it's like, how do you like your eggs? The same way you like your eggs, and that was like a kind of an ongoing theme. I think that was the movie that was an ongoing theme. And then like the final scene, she was like, this is how I like my eggs, right?
Yeah.
And so I point that out because if you're going to be a chameleon and constantly morph yourself into something you're not to be liked by someone that you like, it's not going to stick because that's not true to you.
Yes.
And so when you step into that authenticity and that radical just state of this is who I am, this is what I believe in, and you don't try to minimize that, you're going to start aligning with people that are a better fit because anyone that's not isn't going to gravitate toward that authenticity.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a really good way to filter out the wrong matches and create space for the right ones.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's so true. And I mean, okay, so you have sisters, right?
Yes.
So you get it. So I have 3 sisters, like we said. And there was a guy I was seeing, and I don't know if your family's like this, but like when you're seeing one of us, like they end up friends with everyone, like the guys you're seeing, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And so things kind of faded out with him. And he told my sister, he's like, I just didn't really realize how like moral your sister is. Like she's got values and I'm not used to that. And I'm like, that's what happens when you're like not aligned with the right person. Like things eventually will fade out if, you know what I mean? Like different morals, different values,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You just reminded me of like an old episode of The Kardashians. I think it was like with Rob and Adrian, and they were like, if you're dating one of us, you're dating the whole family.
It's literally what it's like. It's so crazy. It's so true.
Everyone needs to date an Armenian.
Oh my gosh. It's, enter at your own risk. It's a lot. It's a lot. But oh my gosh. Okay. Last one. He says he can't date you anymore until you are intimate with him.
Got it. If it doesn't feel, I mean, I guess it doesn't even matter. Like if it doesn't feel like a comfortable move for you.
Yeah.
Because if you want to be intimate with someone, if you're going to be intimate with someone, it's because hopefully you feel safe in their presence.
Yeah.
And so if you haven't been intimate with someone yet, because it's either your values, you want to wait longer, you have certain rules that you're abiding by, or you just don't feel safe in that person's presence, then I don't think you should compromise on something that is the most intimate, I think one of the most valuable things that you as a woman have, which is your sexuality. And I think your body is a temple, and I think not everyone deserves the keys to your castle, and you should be really hyper discerning about who you let in. And I'm not personally, and this is an opinion, but I'm not personally a proponent of casual sex. I'm not a proponent of casual dating and relationships like that. That's fine if that is for other people, but I've not known any women where, put it to you like this, it raises their dating marketplace value to have multiple partners or to be promiscuous, especially if it doesn't feel like the right time for them. And so I think hold on to your values. And if someone is pressuring you or giving you an ultimatum, well, that's what that person's pattern is going to be going forward. Like this is just the first of many.
Yeah.
So I would say ghost. And I know this is kind of long-winded, but I truly think that there needs to be more openness, especially on social media and podcasts and stuff, because there's so many podcasts out there that are encouraging women to be.
It freaks me out.
Part of this hookup culture. And I actually think, ladies, if you want to increase your value in the eyes of a respectable man, you got to value yourself. And it should not be easy for a man to hit it and quit it with you. I don't think it does anything for you as a woman. I think it takes part of your soul away too.
Yeah.
So
I do too.
I mean, that's my long-winded answer. No girl I know who's had a casual hookup, one night stand, has ever been like, so happy I did that.
Right. I agree. And let me say this too. Is it ever really casual? Like for us girls, I feel like it's never really casual in our head. Mm-hmm. And even for men, like even if they're acting like it is casual, and they obviously I feel like men obviously, like it's scientific almost, like they can have casual sex easier than women, 100%. Right? And, but I do think
for men, sex is like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's still good.
Oh my God. Yeah, I love that. That's a good one. But it's true. And I do feel like the problem is why so many people have, in this world where like there's so many options now, right? Like we have our phones, you can meet people anywhere online, whatever. And it almost seems like it's harder to meet people and harder for people to find marriage and commitment is because people are having so much more casual sex and like lowering their values and standards. And whether it's because like they don't know any better or because they think like, oh, well, if I do this, then I'll get the guy, whatever it is. It's like, what is it about like this propaganda of hookup culture that people are so, I don't know, like it's like you said, like the different podcasts now and stuff, they really like push it. And I do think people need to talk more about how the casual sex and the hookup culture is actually really fucking over people's dating lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of it comes from the music industry too.
Yeah.
Like if you listen to any female rap artist, like that's a lot of the times at the center of the lyrics. I personally think it's important to think about what kind of man you want.
Yeah.
End game. What qualities would he value in a partner? Does a high value man want a woman who's for the streets and ran through? No. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No. I did actually a whole series on my TikTok and Instagram a few years ago where I went around and I interviewed men and women and I said, does body count matter? What's the minimum body count? And, again, like women can get mad at this, but if you are dating with the intention of being with a man and marrying a man, and a respectable one for that matter, it would, I think, do you a service to listen to the things that men are saying, right? Wouldn't you, if you were a business and you were trying to sell a product, wouldn't you want to know your customer, right? Like, why are we villainizing men for having preferences? We should be trying to understand them better so that we can become better prospects and have a competitive advantage and ideally get the best one for you. That's what I think. And when it comes to body count, the lower the body count, the better when it comes to dating. Now, if you have a high body count, I'm not here to slap you on the wrist for it. I personally don't care. I live your life. But you have to understand that sometimes your aura, and this isn't all women, but it is some, it conveys that. So you almost have to overcorrect by having a really classy presence. And no one has to know your body count as a woman. That's a personal thing. And I know it's not, an equal way of looking at it. But the truth is, we're not living in equal society. Women and men are wired differently. We're on different clocks. We have different advantages and disadvantages in dating. As women, we have a shorter, it sucks, but we have a shorter timeline to have it all, right? Men can have the business, they can have fun, they can have multiple girlfriends, and they can wake up at 45, 50 years old and decide, I'm ready to be a family man and a husband now, Whereas for women, it's like you have less time, even with the technology, you have to sometimes get it all together by like 38, 39, 40.
Yeah.
So, and that's pushing it too. Like, and again, I know it sounds unempowering to say that out loud, but that's the truth that most women know and carry. And look, I have like a second cousin who had a baby at 50. I know women who, they have kids in their late 30s and early 40s and they get married too. It's just harder. Yeah. And so I don't know where I'm going with this, I guess, but I guess to land the plane, it's like we as women have to be even more strategic and careful than men when it comes to who we're sleeping with, how many people we're sleeping with, the people we're engaging with, where we're allotting our time. Because the more you get into that hookup culture, the harder it is to come out of it because you're so used to that pace and that rhythm. And so going from a point where you're hooking up with a new guy every month or every other month, it's a lot harder to graduate from that and into, I'm going to be a monogamous woman to one man for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So there is a psychological effect that happens when you get on that hamster wheel.
I agree. I think it's very dangerous. I think it's dangerous emotionally for people. And I got to tell you too, like, are people afraid of like diseases, like getting like you know what I mean?
It's not obviously healthy.
Yeah.
But some people could argue like there's so many different ways you can look at that. But obviously, like you have to practice safe sex. And for women in particular, men are carriers and women, unfortunately, are receivers. So, a lot of men, for example, will carry HPV and they don't even know about it because they don't test for that.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why like 80% of the population has had it at some point.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So yeah, it's important to practice safe sex, guys, if you're going to be, out there and all that. When you are intimate with a man, you bond because you release oxytocin.
Yeah.
It's a bonding hormone. And so men, they have the opposite. When they hook up with a girl, post-nut clarity kicks in, right? They want nothing to do with you because their testosterone drops. And so as ladies, you have to be understanding that if you're going to hook up with a guy, before you have established emotional intimacy with him and really gotten to know him and he feels, emotionally connected to you, then you run the risk of developing feelings for that man who really has no feelings toward you.
Right.
And that gives you less leverage.
Yeah. Yeah. And the scary part is, when you are intimate with someone so quickly, before you know them, before there's anything established, like you can be blinded by, a false bond that's created just from intimacy, you know what I mean, between someone. So that can be scary. So, okay. So now moving on from that and kind of going into more to, like we were saying, like things that make you high value in dating, what advice do you have for women, especially women who are dating intentionally? They're looking for something serious or looking for a husband to, date with high value.
Okay. So first of all, understand what it is to be a high value woman.
Yeah.
Because it's different than being a high value man. And the reason it's different is because the factors that women look for in a partner are different than the factors men look for in a partner. And so you have to think about it through the lens of your target market, right? So if you're trying to be a high value woman to appeal to a high value man, well, let's pick that apart. It's not about your resume. It's not about how much money you make. It's not about what school you went to. Those are incredible achievements, but they don't necessarily raise your value in the dating market exclusively. So you have to bring other things to the table that men, especially high value men, are in seek of. Yeah. Because if that's your goal, is to be with a high value man, you got to know what they're looking for. And what they're looking for is commonly, obviously it's nuanced because when you factor in cultural preferences or religious preferences or appearance preferences, some guys like blondes, some guys like brunettes.
Yeah.
Some guys want an overly devout, God-fearing woman. Some guys, that would not work for them at all, right?
Yeah.
So if you want kids, if you don't want kids, all these things. But at the core level, I would say start by establishing a fitness routine. Are you fit? Are you in shape? Is your body looking as healthy and good as it possibly can look? And this is something that women are very sensitive to because appearance is a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
But society has lied to a lot of women by telling them you're perfect as you are. And, a man is going to come along and love you for you that you want. And the truth is, if you're single and you're looking for a high value man, it's probably because you're not satisfied with the options you have.
Yeah.
Because if you were, you probably wouldn't be listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So start with fitness, get in better shape. And if you're already in great shape, then, dismiss this and move on to point number 2. But really think about, like, am I in the best shape that I could possibly be in? Do I feel confident in my body? Again, it's awkward and it's tough too because we're living in a society where beauty standards are so high and there's so much pressure on women to look a certain way, and men are looking at girls on Instagram. And, I will say, like, it's kind of not fair. It's kind of not fair how much pressure women are under, especially in cities like Los Angeles, where we live. But you can hate the player, you can hate the game. At the end of the day, the game still goes on. So you got to compete. You got to look good. Yeah. That's point number 1. And that fitness is a big part of it. Yeah. Like, it's not about having lash extensions. It's not about, the most expensive foundation. That stuff makes a difference. But at the end of the day, do you look good physically? Do you look healthy? Do you look like you take care of yourself? Be well groomed. Your style, your aesthetic is your brand in a lot of senses. So if you're going to look like, you just got back from a rave, is that going to attract a businessman to look at you in, a wifey way? Yeah. Right? So think about your style and your aesthetic in the lens of, like, what type of man do I want? And how would the woman he views as a wife represent herself aesthetically? Yeah. That's the simple stuff, though. That's actually the really simple stuff, is getting your appearance tightened up and buttoned up. The hard stuff is rewiring the internal software. And that means having feminine energy. So knowing how to let a man lead, and not emasculating men, which is tough because, especially if you are a successful woman, you've probably been used to doing everything for yourself. And you may have a default mode of, I don't need a man. Yeah. Right? Not because you don't actually need a man, but because you do everything for yourself. You've built this life on your own.
You're self-sufficient.
And you're independent. You're self-sufficient. You've got it going on, which is exciting and awesome and admirable. But men at their core want to feel needed. That's how they feel masculine a lot of the times. Yeah. It's the stupid little things like, hey, babe, can you open this jar of tomatoes? Like, I can't open it. Like, it's this silly, stupid examples like that I use because it actually does get to the core of how men operate. Yeah. They want to feel useful. They want to feel needed. They want to feel like they can add value to your life. So the internal software. Yeah. And part of that comes with being agreeable. Yeah. Agreeableness and being cooperative, really important. I can't tell you how many men have messaged me saying, Nelly, I saw this video that you posted about being cooperative and agreeable. I couldn't agree more. And it's always the women who are loud in my comments, like, I'm not going to be agreeable to a man. It's like, okay, then don't. But another woman who is going to get that guy, right? Yeah. And so being agreeable, being cooperative, being in your feminine energy, and being disciplined and routined, in everything that you do in life. And that's, even as simple as, like, do you have a fitness routine? Are you on time with, your taxes? Are you cleaning up your home? Like, having a buttoned up, disciplined life, because how you do one thing is really how you do everything. Yeah. I believe. And you want to be plug and play so that when the right man does come along, it's not like you're scrambling or hiding or, concealing, some of the other things. I'm not saying you have to be perfect. Right. But I'm saying work on becoming the type of woman that is a asset to a man. Yeah. And how you're an asset is you're a team player. You're on his team. You're able to get in the game. And you're not adding friction, and you're agreeable and you're feminine and you're fit. And the reason all this matters is because when you think about how men select partners, they select partners who they feel are an extension of their personal brand. And if a man has worked hard his whole life, he's not going to want to be with someone who he doesn't feel represents the brand he's built. And so you have to think about it again through that lens of like, am I representing myself as the type of woman that a man could bring to a corporate function, a man could bring to a family dinner, a man could see as raising strong, competent children that he can brag about to his colleagues. Like, that's how men are picking partners. And so it's in women's best interest, I think, to understand how men are picking partners. And look, again, it's up to you. You live your life how you want to live your life. But if you want a life where you do have that partnership, being the type of woman that is so undeniably right for a man by how you show up in your life.
Totally.
And I think that the beauty is we have control. Women don't even realize we have so much control.
So much.
You know, and if we know how to play the game, it's not that hard to win. It's not that hard to win. And I know there are going to be people who say, oh, so you're saying that the only way to win in life is by getting married and having a man? No, but ask yourself, where do I want to be in 10 years? Heck, where do I want to be in 40 years? Do I want to be slaving away for some corporation that doesn't care about me in 40 years? Or do I want to be taking trips to Mexico and packing my kid's lunchbox and, you know, having people in my life? Right? Like, and it doesn't have to be so extreme. Like, but I think, here's what I think. Society has so many proponents of the latter where it's like glorifying being a single, independent, childless woman later in life. Okay, but let's also glorify the other, because the truth is, I think that life is about people, and it's fun when you have family. And it's fun when you have friends. And I've got an incredible life, and I'm super successful, and I'm very accomplished, but I can't wait for the day where I get to throw my kid a bat mitzvah. I can't wait for the day where I get to host Shabbat dinners. And I can't wait for the day where I get to, you know, take my kid to summer camp. And I hope that that day comes. That's what I look forward to. I don't look forward to like a promotion or a Forbes article. Like I used to, but I don't anymore. And I think when you really think about, ladies, like the life that you want, where do you truly want to be in 10 to 15 years? Then you can create a strategy around that. Okay, how do I become the type of person that's going to be able to get myself that life? And that's not to say that there aren't women who are married with kids who are unhappy. Of course there are. Of course there are. But I also think, again, it's just about, you know, also telling yourself that that's not necessarily the case always. Like you don't, it doesn't have to be so extreme. Just like there are a lot of happy women who don't have kids and who are older and successful, there are also a lot of miserable ones. Who their friends are all married, their relatives have died, and it's just them.
No, you're so right. You're so right. And I do think we've, like, as a society, really strayed away from like the idea of family, which I think is like, you know, we were talking about you're Jewish, I'm Armenian. So it's something that we like hold dear, I feel like. And it's, you know, something that is meaningful to us. And, you know, to your point, you talking about how being an asset to a man, in response to that, you will also like attract a man that is an asset to you. You know what I mean? Isn't that like the goal, like to have like a partner at the end of the day that you can support each other through life?
For sure.
So,
yes, absolutely. And I say to women too, like, why not get the best guy you possibly can? Right. Like, we're living in unpredictable times. You should be picking partners who are going to provide you with safety and security, even financial security. Like, why is that a bad thing to say out loud? And men need to stop calling women gold diggers for saying that, because that's actually just a smart way to date. And by the way, no man is dating a woman he's unattracted to. And if women were just saying to men, oh, well, you should just date the girl you're not attracted to because you're just vain and superficial, guys would roll their eyes. So stop telling women that they're gold diggers because they want someone who's going to provide them with safety and security once they birth children. And I just think that I just think that any man that even says stuff like that is totally out of touch. Totally out of touch. I agree with you 100%. So, okay. But asterisk, can I just go back to that?
Yeah, of course.
That is not to say or suggest that there aren't women that are blatantly transactional. And only looking for a lifestyle. And I'll tell you a story. As a matchmaker, I had a client once who took a woman to a really great restaurant. in Bal Harbour. If you guys know Miami, you know Bal Harbour, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He took her to Makoto, and after lunch, he had to go return something at, I think it was Neiman Marcus or Saks. Maybe it was Saks. And she went with him, and she picked up like a $400 perfume. And when they got to the till, she put it with his stuff. Like, that is a really ridiculous, inconsiderate thing to do.
Yeah.
Especially on a first date. You don't even know this guy and you're expecting him to buy you a $400 perfume.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So women like that give other women a bad rep because those are actual gold diggers. Those are actual transactional seekers. And that is not an appropriate thing to do on a date.
Yeah.
But so I just say that because, yes, you know, to the men that are in the back, oh, there are gold diggers. Yes, there are.
Of course. Yeah.
But again, you shouldn't be reprimanding women who have a lot to offer because they're seeking financial security.
Yeah.
That's just ridiculous.
I agree with you 100%. Totally. I think that's very well put. It's like there's a spectrum of things. But okay, to that point then, you know, talking about, you know, things that make you high value in dating. I know you talk a lot about, especially on like TikTok and that kind of thing, discipline in dating. So how do you apply that discipline in dating, especially when you're trying to date high value?
Yeah. I think discipline is really important in dating if you're looking for a life partner or something that leads to marriage or a long-term relationship. And it looks different for men than it does for women. For men, it looks like saying no to temptation and distractions, and women who there really is no long-term future potential there.
Yeah.
And the reason that's important is because even if you can separate fun from forever, it still is harder to get off the hamster wheel when you have all that temptation. It's kind of not compared to this. It's like you're trying to go on a diet. You're like, I'm ready to eat healthy, but you keep going to the cupcake shop every day.
Yeah.
It's hard to say no to cupcakes. It's hard to actually be excited over a salad when you're surrounded by cupcakes.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean when I say be disciplined in dating with respect to men. And then with respect to women, being disciplined in dating means adhering to your non-negotiables.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if you're going to say that you know, want to date someone who is marriage-minded, well, stop responding to the F-boy at 1 a.m. when he texts you, right? Like, be disciplined.
Yeah.
And it kind of comes from like validating yourself and not seeking that attention and validation from men who you know there's no future with.
Right.
And so having that discipline to walk away, or even walk away from people who are great matches, but you know there's no long-term potential there either. Like, for example, if you really want to date a God-fearing Christian man, right, but a hot atheist guy is pursuing you and you're like, oh, he's, you know, great abs. It's like, okay, but that's a non-starter for you.
Yeah.
Right? So like then adhere to that.
Totally. That's so true. And I'm like, listen, we're all guilty of it, right? Like I find myself sometimes if I like someone like looking so much at the potential and not at the reality, you know, which can be so hard.
And it's also about understanding the role of compatibility and the role of chemistry.
Yeah.
Both ingredients are needed, but you can't conflate one with the other.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy, especially for men and women too, to mistaken chemistry for compatibility. It's like, well, we have this connection, we have this passion, we have this spark.
Yeah.
But are your values aligned?
Exactly.
Do you want the same things out of life? Do you mirror each other in terms of how you want to recreate? You know, do you have the same vision? And that is really important and fundamental too.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side too, like, not that this is as common, but compatibility without chemistry is also tough.
Yeah.
Because you're not looking for a partner or roommate or, you know, someone to just check a box. Someone you're going to be potentially spending the rest of your life with.
100%.
You should want to, you know, look at them and feel excited.
Yeah.
You know, you should want to have that passion and that romance.
Yeah.
And I think, it's good to look for both.
I agree. I agree with you 100%. And I think that's such a good point because you have to have both and you deserve both. You know what I mean? So, okay. So you as a dating coach now, I'm curious, is there ever like a certain red flag you constantly see both for men and women that people should stay away from the minute they see it?
Oh, gosh. I think it really depends on what that person is in seek of.
Yeah.
Because a red flag to you might be different than a red flag to me.
True.
But I would say common red flags, if you are looking for something meaningful, I'm going to be going there, but like if a guy's only following Insta hoes and OF girls, is that someone that is looking for substance?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm raising an eyebrow. And I think, if a man has a reputation of, being a player, like that probably is a red flag.
Yeah.
Cynicism. A lot of people are jaded, especially here in LA.
Yeah.
And I think it's really unfair to project what your experience with other women has been onto one woman who you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of people, right? They're like, all women are gold diggers, all women are users. It's like that cynical, jaded attitude is a red flag because it shows that you're not open and you haven't healed. And not that you really ever arrive, but like, isn't it so much more refreshing when you're around someone who is just not that way, right?
Yeah.
I think so. So there's that. In terms of red flags for women, okay, so, if a woman is posting hypersexualized content on the internet, men might be attracted to that, but they're not necessarily going to take you seriously. And so that would be a red flag for a lot of men who are high value. Here's one. If you are someone who, and there are a lot of ladies like this, takes to social media to air your dirty laundry and talk about your ex-boyfriend who screwed you over and, this person did this. Like, that's a big red flag for a lot of high value men because discretion is so coveted, and it can be career suicide. It can be reputational suicide for a man who's worked very hard to build an incredible life to be with a woman who is, a risk in that way, right? Where one thing goes awry and she could, go to social media and, villainize him.
Yeah.
And I know that's a real fear for a lot of men.
Yeah.
Especially high value men. So I would say those are red flags for a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense, right? Especially it depends, like you said, like what you're looking for, but that makes sense if you're looking for, like we talked about, like intentional dating, right? So, okay. You as a dating coach, do you, so with your clients, do you give like advice to them when they are dating, or do you, mostly set them up? How does it work?
It depends. I have some clients that are coaching clients as well.
Yeah.
And then I have some clients that are strictly matchmaking. So it's not always the case that I'm giving everyone advice because advice is a form of therapy. I know we were kind of talking about that earlier, but I don't have endless buckets of time to just be sitting talking to people for 45 minutes about, you should have done this differently or that differently.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy coaching and I really enjoy the human connection that I get from my job. I think truly, I love my job. I love what I do for a living. I love that I get to work with people. I love that I get to, what I, think is a mitzvah and a miracle, which is to help people create love stories.
Yeah.
And I also feel like it's true. We're living in a relationship recession. We're living in a time where loneliness is so prevalent and we are interconnected. We are all on social media and we have access technically to people from around the world in ways that our parents and grandparents didn't, but we're really disconnected too. Yeah. We don't have that human connection. I have been very fortunate to create a life for myself where I have an amazing community, but that was a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I know that that's not the case for a lot of people. A lot of people are lonely. A lot of people, they don't have that community. And so one of the things I love about my work is I get to bridge that gap and I get to bring people together and create love stories, which I think is, something that we need more of in our society. And we're living in really scary times too, because, think about statistically, like 50% of women over 30 who are childless and have never been married, there's only a 50% chance of that.
Yeah.
And then once you hit 40, it's 9%. And for men, once they hit 40, if they've never been married or have no kids, the chance of them getting married is 12%. And so, we're living in times where it is fun sometimes to be single, but again, think about long term, think about legacy. So I'm very blessed to do something that I love, and I get to meet incredible people who are very successful and have achieved a lot. And so there's always things that I can learn from them. And a lot of these people, they're sharks, but they haven't been able to translate that success into their love life.
For sure.
If you don't have that love and genuine, connection at the end of the day, it all starts to feel hollow after a while.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can have the home, you can have the cars, you can have the trips, but if you don't have someone to share it with,
For sure.
who really sees you for you, it just feels hollow.
Yeah.
It feels, empty. And then it kind of feels like, well, what did I work this hard for? And that's for men and women. It's not just guys, right? Like there are a lot of women that work their whole lives to become these powerhouses. And then, like how many handbags are you going to buy?
Right.
Like after a
Yeah.
while, the Birkins get boring. Sorry to the fashion lovers out there, but I really think that there's so much more to life than the designer labels and all of that stuff. And I say that as someone who loves that stuff.
Yeah.
And I can still acknowledge that there's a lot more to life than just that.
100%. 100%. That's so true. I think that's very well put. And it's something people forget a lot about, especially, like you said, like modern times, there is like a lack of community, and it's really sad though. It's sad to watch.
It is. And that's really important to take charge of your life if you're listening to this. And if you don't have that community, no one's coming to save you. You have to seek it out.
Yeah.
I've moved several times in my life. I've lived in different countries and different major cities. And what I can tell you is it's hard, and it's even harder as you get older. And not everyone is fortunate to be in a line of work where they're meeting so many people. Like I'm sure you meet a lot of people through your line of work. I meet a lot of people through my line of work. You have a big family, but not everyone does.
Right.
And so if you want to take charge and really architect your life in a way that you don't look back and have regrets, you got to start now. You have to take that step. You have to put yourself out there. You have to go on the dates. You have to join your community, take up hobbies, create that life on your own, and get comfortable with the fact that, is it going to probably cost money? Yeah. Are you going to get rejected? Yeah. Is it going to be, highs and lows? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Is it going to be tough going to stuff alone and making the effort and initiating? Yeah. But is the juice ultimately going to be worth the squeeze? Probably. And even if it's not, would you rather stay stagnant or try?
Yeah. And say you tried.
Yeah. And say you tried. And hey, guess what? Usually if you try and you focus on things, you're going to get somewhere.
100%.
You are. And it's not always the case too. Like take the pressure off the interactions. It's not always the case that you go on a date, you meet the love of your life, and you sail off into the fairy tale ending. Sometimes you go on a date, and on the date you're like, look, Brad, you're not for me.
Yeah.
But I have a great girlfriend for you. Or let's stay friends.
Yep.
And then next thing you know, Brad's inviting you to his birthday dinner and you're sitting next to Chris. And actually, Chris is kind of cute.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, this is Chris's sister who you become friends with. And that's how it happens.
Yeah.
And so like, it's okay to zigzag. It's not usually linear, but you have to take it upon yourself to create a community and create a social life. And if you don't, no one's coming at your door and going to just, adopt you.
Right. 100%. 100%. That's so true. So spot on. And I feel like people a lot of the time, they walk in like self-pity and like poor me. And it's like, no, you got to like get up and like put yourself out there. And
here's another tip too. So many people go into interactions, I think, with the attitude of what can I gain?
Yeah.
And I truly believe that the attitude should shift to what can I give? What value can I add? And that can even just be energetically, like be a good time. Be someone who makes other people feel comfortable. Be the person that is, if you're a girl, like willing to go to the bathroom with that new girl. Like be a giver.
Yeah.
And I think if you give, you're going to get so much more back.
For sure. You get what you put out there, for
You
sure.
do. And even just like, I know people who, they're not the most popular. They're not invited to a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
But because they're such good vibes and they're so cool and kind to be around, they get invited to everything.
Yeah.
And that's how it works.
Yeah.
So like, if you want to really create a full life for yourself, focus on giving, because then it's going to come back to you tenfold.
For sure. I agree with that. I think that's so true. So, okay, I feel like you're just so full of wisdom and like you give such good advice. Let me ask you this. Okay, so like me, I can give my sisters like one piece of advice, and then like in my own dating life or just anything in life, I won't take it. Do you yourself as Nelly take your own dating advice that you give to your clients?
100%.
I love that.
100%. But I also look at my life as seasons.
Yeah.
And so I am good at giving myself grace in times where I know I just don't have that much to give.
Yeah.
Like, for example, it is tough. And actually, one of my favorite quotes. I think it was Oprah who quoted this. And she said, you can have it all, but not all at once. And that's a quote that I live by because I think it just takes the pressure off of feeling like you have to do everything all at once.
Yeah.
Like there's a season for dating. There is a season for building and grinding. There's a season for health and fitness. And then once you master those seasons, it's easier to integrate them into other chapters where it's like, oh, okay, I can actually have a fitness routine and still be good at my job.
Yeah.
And maybe start to sprinkle in some dates here and there, right?
Yeah.
But it's not always the case that you have all these things mastered in the same season. But I do take my own advice. I think for better or for worse, I'm quite hard on myself. But that's because I think if you expect greatness of others, you need to expect that of yourself. And I want to be the best version of myself. It's actually fun for me. I'm like my favorite project to work on.
Yeah.
I enjoy rebranding. I enjoy becoming a better version. Like right now, something as silly as it sounds is I have been really loving turning a house into a home.
Yeah.
I've really loved entertaining people and hosting people and kind of stepping into that new energy and making a place feel comfortable and clean. And, you know, I'm naturally like such a messy person that like that's been something I've been working on.
The worst.
And I don't know, I've enjoyed that. So yeah, I mean, it's things like that. I'm trying to get back into the gym and get back on a routine because I was working and traveling quite a bit and I fell off the wagon. And so it's just baby steps. But yeah, I definitely take my own advice. And I think the more you say yes to life, the more life says, the more you say yes to life, the more life says yes to you. And so, you know, I will go out with friends even when I feel tired.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, why not? You know what? Like, I don't have kids. It's just me and my dog. Why would I not? And so like, I'm booked and busy, even when I don't want to be, because I'm so naturally just like not someone who likes to kind of be out and about. Like I'm great when I'm already in the room, but getting me in the room, that's tough. Like I'd rather just like be in my heated blanket watching Netflix, Love is Blind at home. But yeah, like if you get invitations or invited to things, say yes.
Yeah.
Go, push yourself, do the uncomfortable things, because what you want is a lot of the times on the edge of or the other side of your comfort zone.
Yeah, that's so true. So true.
Yeah.
So, okay, I want to talk a little bit about you personally. So you are from Canada.
Yeah.
And how long have you been in LA for again?
I've been here for 2.5 years.
Okay, 2.5 years. And
that was quick.
I want to know how you started, you know, kind of just like your whole niche and your whole platform and becoming a dating coach and a matchmaker.
Yeah, it's so crazy because I didn't choose this life, but at the same time, I kind of did. I'm going to tell a story because I mentioned earlier to you, I don't know if we were rolling, but I truly am a believer in manifestation and the sense that I think your thoughts become your reality. And when you plant seeds and you water those seeds, they will grow. When I was probably 23, a girlfriend of mine gifted me for my birthday a book. And it was, I don't even know the name of the book. It was like Dreams Come True, something kind of cliche. And like a total like girl present that, a girlfriend gives another girlfriend. And in the book, it was like, write down your wildest dreams. And I always loved the show Millionaire Matchmaker.
Oh my gosh,
on
great
Bravo.
show.
Loved that show. And I wrote down, I would love to be a dating coach on TV. No idea where that came from. I had no social media presence. I would just like give dating advice to my girlfriends. That was kind of it. I was working a corporate job at the time and I was moving up the ranks. And so like that was a stable situation for me.
Yeah.
And then in 2020, when COVID happened, we all went to work from home.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, I can't believe I'm working from home. And I was like so happy. I was like, finally, I don't have to go to the office at 8 a.m. Yes.
Yeah.
So I kind of got into TikTok because I was watching and consuming a lot of TikTok. That was like peak 2020 when everyone was downloading it.
Yeah.
And I started posting dating advice videos, and randomly I would get people liking and commenting and saying, oh, like, what do I do in this situation? And so that became a little bit of a passion project of mine for a couple of years, where every day I would post like 2-3 videos, and I grew this community and I loved it. And it was so much more, it became so much more important to me than my job, even though I was doing great at my job and I was juggling a lot because the company was getting leaner. And so I really started to think about what I wanted my future to be. And the trajectory I was on professionally was like, you go and you get an MBA. And if you go and get an MBA, you could maybe become a brand manager one day.
Yeah.
That was like the goal. And you know, when you become a brand manager, like make a couple $100,000 and you get some prestige. And like, that was aspirational. And I did a pre-MBA program at Harvard and I really disliked it. I got the certificate, but I was like, I hate accounting. I never want to look at a P&L ever again. And after that, I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, I suck at it. And secondly, I just don't want to do this. And it was a bit of an eye-opener because at the time I was doing TikTok, I was doing my corporate job, and I had just finished this course. And I felt kind of trapped because I was like, I need a master's degree to excel in corporate America, but I don't want to do an MBA. And so I found a program at Columbia, and it was negotiation and conflict resolution. And I thought, this is cool because this is applicable to my coaching because it's kind of people skills, and they have like a mediation part of the program where they teach you how to, mediate. But it's also applicable to corporate America because maybe if I stay with this, I can do mergers and acquisitions one day. And a lot of people that are lawyers, they do that program. And so I enrolled in that program, or I applied to it and I got in. And as I was about a year and a half deep into the master's program, I kind of had a breaking point where I was like, I can't do working a full-time Fortune 500 job. I can't do 3 posts on social media.
Yeah.
And I can't do school. Like, I'm just going to have a full down break. Like, I'm just going to break down. Like, I was having panic attacks. So I was like, you know what is the easiest thing to replace? My corporate job. I quit the job. Mind you, my job also provided me with an H-1B visa. So I lost the visa. I lost the salary. But I was like, you know what? I think I've enough of a following here where I can probably make some money.
Yeah.
And so I launched a dating course for my followers called Manifesting Mr. Right, 12-step program. And you know what? I made a lot of money the first month I launched that. And I was like, online sales, huh? And funny enough, about a month later, after quitting my job, a casting director reached out to me and said, hey, we want to film this show about matchmakers and dating coaches. We're in the very early stages. And I went through the interviews and, it in the matter of 6 months got picked up by Roku, filmed the show in Miami called Match Me in Miami. It came out on Roku the following year. And I said, I'm already a matchmaker on TV. I've been doing this.
Yeah.
Why not just pick up my own clients? And funny enough, millionaire matchmaker Patty Stanger had reached out to me.
Oh my gosh.
When I moved to LA. I moved to LA after filming the show because I wanted to be closer to the entertainment industry. And I also, I'm Jewish. So I was like, there are 3 cities I can actually live in that I'm going to probably meet a Jewish person in. Like, it's Miami, it's New York, it's Chicago, or it's Miami, New York, LA. New York, way too cold. Miami, did it for 10 years. Okay, LA. And also LA has the entertainment industry. So that's why I moved out here. And then I partnered up with, the show came out, and then I started taking on actually private clients and doing matchmaking, and I really enjoyed it. And I was making more money. And then I started doing online coaching. So I launched a coaching program. Once again, started making a lot more money. And I was like, wait, you're telling me I can actually do what I want and not struggle?
Yeah.
That's cool. And then I partnered up with this dating app called Blush. Not sure if you've heard of it.
I think I've heard of it, yeah.
It's a really great dating app. And it's all for high-value singles. And so I joined Blush, and originally I was helping them with outreach and trying to scale the user base. And then it turned into me leading the charge on matchmaking and creating and helping them create their matchmaking division. And now we're the fastest growing matchmaking service in the country. And I still have private clients that I work with, and it's just really fulfilling. So, and then, I launched the podcast. I actually just filmed another show. So it's been a really interesting journey, and that's the last 5 years. But it's funny because it sounds fast, but it's been slow. And
it probably feels that way for you because that's how it always is when it's your own, situation.
I feel like that was a really long, rambly story. But
it was so cool. I love it because it really does tell from beginning to end how you manifested all this.
When you have that seed and you water it, it will grow. Yeah. But it's not always going to grow the way you want. It's not always going to grow on the timeline you want.
Right.
And the same thing with dating. Like, if you have a vision in your mind of being married, it will happen.
Yeah.
And I think we need to let go of timelines.
Yes.
And not attach that pressure of like, it needs to happen by the time I'm 34. If it happens at 35, but with the right person, isn't that better?
100%.
You know, if you knew that the love of your life was right around the corner, wouldn't you be excited? Wouldn't you be in that energy of abundance of like, I can't wait? Live in that every day.
Yeah. 100%. I think that's so true and so important for people to remember because like you said, we set like timelines and deadlines and, sometimes things happen when you least expect it and you never know. You never know when it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, kind of wrapping this up now. What is the best piece of dating advice you can give to women who are dating intentionally and trying to find a husband?
Dating intentionally and trying to find a husband. Okay. Put on paper what qualities you want in a man.
Yeah.
What are the need to haves? What are the nice to haves? What are the non-negotiables? Start there because it will make it easier to filter out anyone that's not a fit and stop rationalizing people for potential and people who are outside of that criteria.
Yeah.
Now, you don't want to get overly extensive with it where it's like no man's land. But if you are going to really embark on this, you have to have that clarity because you can't manifest something if you don't know what that is. So that's step one. Step two, create another list. You've got your main list. Here's what I want in a partner. Here's the tough part. You got to ask yourself, what are the qualities that that type of man would probably want in a woman?
Yeah.
And if you don't actually know, ChatGPT Monday, put it in, right?
Yeah.
Like, here's my dream man. What kind of woman does he want?
Yeah.
Because then it's easier to fill in the gaps and it's easier to introspect. And you don't attract what you want in life. You actually attract what you are. So like attracts like. And if you want someone awesome, you have to be awesome.
Yeah.
And you have to be awesome not because your mom tells you are, but because you genuinely are someone that leads a great life.
Yeah.
In whatever capacity that feels authentic to you. So third is, where is this type of guy hanging out? Okay, let's say on that list, you're like, I want a God-fearing man. When's the last time you went to church?
Yeah.
Are you involved in your community that way? Right? Let's say you want a really fit man. You're like, I want someone that is outdoorsy and works out. Are you outdoorsy? Are you going on camping trips?
Yeah.
Like you got to put yourself in the right environments because you can have a great, a great product, so to speak. Like you can be an awesome catch, but if the exposure isn't there, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Right. So you got to get in the right rooms. You got to be in the environments the type of men you're looking to meet are hanging out in. And then the next thing is making sure when you show up in those rooms, your energy is radiant.
Yeah.
You are confident. You are in that mode of being open.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important because a lot of people self-sabotage. They'll get in the right rooms and then they'll choke up.
Yeah.
And the
So
more
true.
people you talk to, the more comfortable you get, meeting new men and being around male energy, the easier it is.
Yeah.
So that's the next step. And then also just give yourself patience. It's not about, again, a timeline. It's about knowing that everything you are meant for is going to come in divine timing. But if it hasn't come in, it means that it's not aligned yet.
Yes.
And so living in that kind of state of alignment and understanding that what's meant for you is going to come when both of you are on a similar frequency is important.
Yeah.
And do some of the work too. Like, the work is emotionally regulating yourself, not letting yourself slip into darkness when you feel super single during the holidays.
Yeah.
Not getting down on yourself because you wish that you were married with 4 kids by the age that you're at. Like, let go of the timeline, be radiant, know your blind spots, but also know what you want. And when you have that vision, I truly believe the universe must conspire to make it happen.
For sure.
I believe in the laws of the universe. I believe in the law of attraction. And if something has been placed in your mind, it's because it's meant for you.
Yes.
So if you have a desire to be married and a mom, that is meant for you. But here's the thing, it's not just going to happen. You have to make it happen. You have to architect your life in a way that draws it in.
Yeah.
You have to become such an undeniable match for what you want.
Yeah.
And you have to be aligned with it.
For sure.
So get to work.
Get to work. Gotta get to work. Wow. But you know what? I love that. And that's just, I feel like your whole mission and everything you do is so cool. So
it's intended to be empowering. And I think, people who look at it and they say, well, I've already done the work. If you had done the work, you would have what you wanted.
Yeah.
Because part of the work is being patient.
For sure.
Part of the work is understanding that like we can't control timelines.
Yeah.
But part of the work is also looking yourself in the mirror and having that tough conversation of, am I showing up as the best version of me energetically?
Right.
Spiritually?
And coming with that is like, also being accountable, which sometimes is hard for people,
It is hard, but it's also fun because then you get to do the things that you need to do to get where you want.
Yep. And evolve, be a new version of yourself, 100%.
I think it was Audrey Hepburn. I guess I'm just like a book of quotes.
I love it.
She said, even the word impossible has the words, I'm possible.
Yes.
And that's so true. Nothing is impossible if you set your mind to it.
Yeah.
Obviously, okay, there are some things, but but hey, maybe even not. Like I was thinking, oh, am I going to win the lottery? Well, I don't even buy lottery tickets, so probably not. I actually definitely not. I'm not buying lottery tickets. But when you set your mind to something and you have a vision for your life and you visualize yourself in that end state every single day, you make it your practice and you have this undeniable conviction within that it must happen for me, then it's going to happen.
I think so too.
And even if it doesn't, let's just entertain and humor ourselves that if it doesn't, you're still going to get closer than where you are right now.
100%. 100%. That's so true. And I think people just have to remember, like, at the end of the day, if you keep going when you want something, if you're consistent and you push forward, even when it looks like it's impossible, you can make it happen.
Absolutely. And you're allowed to change your mind.
100%. I always say that. So true. And people are allowed to change their mind. And just because you invested in a situation or a person or whatever it is, doesn't mean you have to like stay there stuck and stagnant,
Yeah.
So,
and part of the emotional work is also forgiving yourself for time wasted.
Yeah.
And realizing that it was preparatory.
Yep. Exactly.
Don't be like, oh, I'm so mad I wasted 5 years with Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny was the warm-up.
He was the warm-up.
Johnny was the warm-up.
Exactly. People forget that sometimes, but that's so true and so important to remember, because otherwise you get stuck in these relationships and you just are drawing out something that isn't meant to be. But yeah,
for sure. And again, it also one other piece of advice: hang out with people who already are in healthy, loving relationships that you aspire to have a similar relationship to.
Yeah.
If all your friends are single and bitter and jaded, you're going to become the average of the 5 people you surround the most time with, or you surround yourself with for the most amount of time.
Yeah.
So be very cognizant about who you are surrounding your time with, right? And that's why they say even to like entrepreneurs or people who want to be wealthy, hang out with wealthy people. Ditch your broke friends. Ditch your broke friends and hang out with wealthy people. It's the same in dating.
Yeah. It really
if you
is.
want to be married and have a family, you should make friends with people who are married with families.
Yeah.
You should be around that energy. The single, bitter crew that you're with that thinks all men suck or all women suck, well, that energy is going to rub off on you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So really think hard about who you are around.
Yeah. I think that's some solid advice in all aspects of life, even if it's not about dating, 100%. But oh my gosh. Oh, Nelly, thank you so much for coming today and spending time with us, chatting with us. This was so much fun.
It was fun.
I'm so glad we were able to finally do this.
I know. We should do it again.
I know we really should. Maybe over like a glass of wine or something next time, right?
Yes, but I get sleepy with wine. I'll do a margarita.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. I'm so excited Nelly was here.
This was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my God. So much fun. And you can help me find a husband now. I'm going to leave
Wait,
it to
that's
you.
what this whole deal was? This was a setup. You brought me here because you wanted free matchmaking.
Oh my God.
But that's okay.
You can help me find a
husband. I will keep my eyes open for you.
I love it. Oh my
Is
gosh.
Rob Kardashian single?
I
Just
don't
kidding.
know.
Just
Is
kidding.
he
I only said that because he's Armenian.
I know.
And he's a
And it's funny.
Kardashian.
I've never dated an Armenian. Isn't that crazy?
Should we go to Glendale?
I'm telling you, all you have to do is get an Uber here and you will meet an Armenian.
No, but we want someone good. Not that Uber drivers aren't good, but okay, maybe we're gonna go to Glendale after this. We don't have to. We can go somewhere else.
I love it. I love it. So much fun. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, and I'll see you next week.